Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Yes, I know it's been like a week or 2 weeks since I've updated, but I've had a lot of stuff going on, but I'm here today with a book review, and that is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This is the Hunger Games prequel, and my feelings toward this book are very complicated, so I'm going to try my best to talk through them. I've watched a couple of reviews and it seems like a lot of the fandom has like mixed feelings on this. So if you don't know, this book is about Snow when he was a teenager, so he was like 17 or 18 years old. And the Hunger Games is only in its 10th year, and so they're kind of still like a mess and everything. So the Capitol is like, hey, what if we have the students in the academy that are going into university, what if we have them be mentors to the kids in the district? So you kind of like start seeing how this Hunger Games, you can see the rumblings of the Hunger Games that we know from the books. So like the tributes are treated horribly. They're sent to a zoo, they're not given food. So it's not like the Hunger Games that we know where they eat whatever they want and they're pampered before they go into the Hunger Games. So it's not like the Hunger Games isn't the spectacle that it is in the later books. So yeah, that's kind of what happens. We're gonna get into a little bit more spoilers now. But I think you can kind of infer this by the summary, but in case you don't know, Snow falls in love with his tribute, Lucy Gray, who is from District 12. So yeah, I was going into the book, I figured Snow was gonna fall in love with his tribute, and I thought that she was gonna like die or betray him, and that was gonna be why she lives in the seam, so she's from the same part of District 12 as Katniss, but she's part of this group called the Covey or Covey, I don't know how it's pronounced, and they're gypsy coded. So like I started reading, I'm like, oh well, they perform music, they sing, they're from a traveling group. And like, I don't know that much about Romani culture. The only thing that I know from it is from watching My Big Fat Greek Wedding on like TLC and Lifetime and YouTube, because I love My Big Fat Gypsy Wedding. I don't know why. And then I watched like the spin-off Gypsy Sisters. So like I'm really interested in that culture. So I could kind of see that they're very gypsy coded. I don't know if that was, I think she kind of did that on purpose, but they were never called gypsies, they're called the Covey. So yeah, like I said, I was fully expecting Snow to fall in love with her, and I thought that she's gonna die or she was gonna betray him, and that was gonna be why he hated Katniss. But it's also implied that Lucy Gray's family was part of the rebels, so I thought that was also why he ended up hating Katniss, because she was a rebel, or like helped the rebels like gain traction. And the cool thing, there's like a few kind of Easter eggs where like Lucy Gray is the one who came up with the Hanging Tree song that Katniss sings in Mockingjay, and you also hear her sing the Meadow song that Katniss sings to Prim and sings while Rue is dying in the first book. So I thought that was really cool. But now I'm just going to talk about like some things that I've seen people bring up, like Thoughts on Tomes didn't like how Lucy Gray fell in love with Snow, or how Snow was in love, obsessed, like in lust with Lucy Gray, because he was like her oppressor and he was and she was the oppressed and everything. And like I understand that, but I am a sucker for forbidden romances. So like I loved this one. I love student-teacher relationships, like forbidden type stuff that's like very taboo, but that's just who I am. I also like to write about very taboo subjects. I mean, sometimes people get pissed off at me and they're like, why would you write that? Why didn't you put a trigger warning? And I'm just kind of like, because it's fiction and I should be allowed to explore taboo subjects and stuff like that. I also have read, again, this could just be like my fan fiction heart. I have read so many mentor slash mentee relationship fan fictions. So I've read like Haymitch tribute, Finnick tribute, which I guess is kind of different because they're both from the same district, so they're both tributes and not someone from the capital falling in love with somebody from the districts. But I don't, and like another thing, people hate Snow, and I didn't really hate him until he betrayed his friends to Janice. I was kind of like, why the fuck would you do that? So that was like the turning point for me, which was in like part 3. So like parts 1 and 2, I know that he was like being very selfish and he didn't care who he had to step on to get what he wanted. And I don't know, maybe it's just like my Slytherin heart where I'm like, yes, do anything it takes to get what you want. But I'm not one of those people who would like willingly like kill people or step on people to get what I want, but some people are like that. So I didn't fault him for that because I'm like, I don't find ambition a sin, because I'm not religious and I don't give a fuck. But yeah, so that's with my very rambly thoughts on the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I thought it was really interesting. I saw somebody, I think it's Lena, I don't know, I'll link her like reading vlog and Thoughts on Tomes reading vlog below so you can go check them out because I really loved watching theirs. She was talking about how she would have liked to see how, like, what happened to cause Panem to like become a thing. So I know that she wanted to see, like, in the first like Hunger Games book, they mentioned that it was kind of like climate change, like the seas encroaching and horrible weather and fires and famine and people fighting for resources. So I think that would have been interesting. But when I first saw that she was making a prequel and it was going to be the 10th Hunger Games, I thought for sure it was going to be Mags, like Mags's story. And like I would love to see her do what Lena wanted. So to see like the fall of North America and the war and like what happened and how Panem came to be and how they came up with the Hunger Games, which you find out how they came up with the Hunger Games in this book. So I thought that was interesting. But I also would like to see her do some of the other victors stories. So like I'd love to see Mags, I'd love to see hers because we don't really know that much about her. I'd love to see Finnick's because Finnick is one of my favorite characters. And then I would love to see Haymitch because Haymitch was in, I think, the 50th Quarter Quell where it was like twice as many tributes. So he was like one in like 48 people. And if you know the backstory of how Haymitch won his Hunger Games, I would so love to see that. So I'm part of the people who, when there's a really famous like book series as the Hunger Games, I like to see little stories from like other people's point of views, kind of like Holly Black keeps writing these like little snippets and like novellas to her Folk of the Air series, and I'm living for it. There's one that comes out I think in November that is about the Elven King and like everything that goes on with him, so I'm really looking forward to that. I loved the Sisters book, the audiobook. I can't remember what it's called. Oh, The Lost Sisters, it's called that. So I love it when authors add more to their series, although I really wish Cassandra Clare would have stopped after City of Glass because I'm having a hard time getting through the last 3 Mortal Instruments books. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and I will see you guys later. Bye!